Welcome to Mine Explorers, episode 59, where I am joined by my ex-wife Crystal and her cat Blue.
Howdy. Glad to
Blue.
be on the show. Thanks for keep inviting me back week after week.
Week after week, I know.
It's amazing.
She puts the X in Mine Explorers. What would it be without my ex and her cat, who's large and very sheddy? You know, I took my cat Skaboosh to Starbucks today. And they thought it was pretty funny, and I said it's bring your cat to coffee day, and I got a little laugh.
Did he need to get out of the house?
Yeah. No, I was just out in the field, and I came back and I was cleaning out the truck, and he came and jumped in it, and I was like, all right, here we go, buddy.
Oh, that's funny.
Because I was going to the car wash. He didn't like the car wash so much.
Yeah, I can see
But he
that.
was actually fairly calm. I think the dog gets a lot weirder in the car wash.
He's a funny cat. He's a silly boy.
He'd meowed a bit and hid under the seat, but yeah.
Well,
I don't
welcome
know.
back from the field.
Thanks.
How was it?
Good. I'm still stinky. I haven't changed. And I've got my hard hat on.
You know, just for safety.
Burjack's hard hat.
Yeah.
I just thought it'd be something fun, something unique for the episode. Field was good. So our team is very busy right now, and I've been out prospecting for pozzolans and tungsten, which I've talked about a bunch on this show.
Yep.
And because our team's been busy, I've been filling in on the projects I'm generating with staking and sampling, and I did some field visits.
Cool.
Yes. So I can't announce it here yet because I'm going to wait for them to announce it, obviously. Right. But there is a Australian company that is acquiring a tungsten project here in Utah. And I've been helping with that and doing site visits. And very exciting, a lot of potential there. And we're looking at doing a lot of mapping on the surface and underground. Probably some underground channel sampling, some trenching, and ultimately drilling probably in the not too distant future.
No, it's very exciting.
Yeah, so I can't say much or shouldn't until it's public. You know, we like to protect our clients' confidentiality and all that, but it will be soon. So
no, it's exciting. I mean, we talked about this before, how we like working with the Australians because they understand mining. They don't understand how it works here, but that's fine. Different jurisdiction, we have different rules, different regulations. That's all good. But they understand like the necessary steps that are supposed to happen, and they like to do that.
Yep.
Which I always find like really encouraging, instead of people just like, because we've worked with a lot of people who don't know anything about mining, like nothing. People who were in, you know, crypto or, you know, SaaS or whatever the case may be. And then they're like, oh, I'll just jump into mining because it's super easy. And then they have no idea how it works. They don't understand how expensive it is. And then it's just a training session every single step of the way. And you're like, you got to raise more money. You got to raise more money.
Yeah, so there's some of that, but really, and I agree, the Australians are generally a lot more sophisticated. They're more natural resource oriented. Mm-hmm. Canadians can be hit or miss. Some of them very much are, and then some of the other juniors are not. But as we've grown and progressed as a company, and our reputation's gotten bigger and stronger, and we attract better clients who have built a reputation for being the premium provider, not the low-cost provider, we tend to not attract as many beginners.
Speaking of not attracting beginners, I had a funny conversation today, a lead brought in by my mom.
Okay.
So you know where it's going, right?
Yeah.
You know what kind of, so she has a friend who just bought 50 acres in Sun Valley, Idaho that has
Beautiful spot. Yeah.
Historical workings of an old silver mine, and they want to know how much would it cost to start up a small mine.
Right.
And I talked to my dad about this like months ago, and they're like, yeah, I mean, they kind of thinking like they have this mine, they have some ore on the property, and like, you know, they just think like, what would it be like to just open up a small smelter? And it's like, well, first of all, how much money do they want to spend?
Yeah.
Because we're talking tens of millions.
Yeah, and 50 acres is tiny. So the days of, like when the Mining Act of 1872 was introduced and became law, in those days, an individual prospector could go out, find a 20-acre claim somewhere, work their ass off, frankly, and make a living. Now, because all the inputs are so expensive, labor, all the health and safety regulations, the environmental regulations, the bonding, just diesel and energy and all those things, it's so expensive that you have to have a large scale to make things work. Mm-hmm. And on the flip side, grades have gotten a lot lower. So if you're able to just buy a property that has a mine on it and you're buying it at kind of market property rate, chances are there's not real high grades there. And whatever grades are there are the kind of grades that require scale. So 50 acres is tiny. Modern, dedicated silver mines that are just mining silver as a primary commodity are hundreds, if not thousands of acres.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're largely open pit, although some are underground, but most silver is produced as a byproduct of other mining. The only times where people can mine in the United States on a small scale and be successful are landscape stone, sand and gravel pits, and placer gold mines. And placer gold mines are very rare, and it's usually 2 or 3 people, and they've got ground that they've held for a long time.
Right.
But like small scale silver mining,
I mean, that's the first thing that I said was like, there's no such thing as small scale mining.
And if you've never done it, there's no way. Like, I know of a few really good hard-nosed prospectors who could probably go out and over like a summer mine a small pocket or vein here and there and actually make some money. Very rare.
Yeah.
Very rare.
Yeah.
I mean, I know more experts in almost anything than I do people who can actually go out and do that kind of hard labor.
Right. So
small scale mining, I mean, they're mining on a small scale here at the Trixie mine in Utah, Osisco Development, and it's a small operation and they're making money, but they still have thousands of acres of mineral rights and they have a full mill and setup and support and everything. And the underground's small, but it's still a lot. And
but they're still a mining company, though. They're not
invested millions.
Retired individuals who are like, I have a property.
Right.
So anyways, my advice to them was just enjoy the property.
And the grades. I mean, the grades at Trixie, like they're into hundreds of grams in some spots. So they had 1 gram. And we got him, and then we lost him.
I know. Now someone else has a gram.
The geologist. It's a joke, but hundreds of grams of gold per ton. But because of the way they block the ore out, it grades much lower over the blocks. But still, there's some pockets that are very high grade. But mining silver on a small scale and actually doing all the processing and smelting and everything.
Happen.
I mean, on a hobby scale, you could do it. On a hobby scale, like very small, like you're gonna pour 1 bar every few months or something. That's doable. But to like make a living at it, yeah.
Well, I don't know what their end game was. I was like, I don't even know what we want to spend on even looking at it.
Yeah.
Right? Like if
I mean, I'm talking like bench scale, like you're doing like you've got all the stuff to do it on like a very small scale.
It's like just enjoy the property. It sounds lovely.
Yeah, and opening up a mine, like especially if they've got underground workings, like bringing it up to code, because if they're actually going to mine at any scale and process, they fall under MSHA.
The idea was to just take the discarded ore on the surface and run the old tails, but I mean, who knows? They
start with some assays. I mean, the best thing they could do if they're serious about trying to recover the value from something that small is find somebody with a mill who will buy it.
Right.
Up in Silver Valley. Some of those guys might. I mean, Bunker Hill's restarting and some of the others. And if the pile's big enough, they'd consider hauling it away. But chances are the grades are still pretty low. But yeah, not everyone should get into mining. In fact, most people shouldn't. Most people shouldn't.
And we try and, I mean, we do our best to be honest with people right up front, right?
Yep.
Like, we're not in the business of taking people's money.
Yep.
We want to make sure that they know what they're getting into. They know the risks. And,
yep.
You know, like you said, we've worked with those people before. Now we're changing our clientele into the more sophisticated ones, and it's been a journey. But I mean, as commodity prices soar, we still get those inquiries.
Oh yeah, for sure, and we'll get more. There's a lot of people who are like, I want to get into rare earths and I want to get into this and that, and it's like, well,
How about you just buy stocks?
yeah, which is risky enough, right?
sure.
But you have the liquidity.
But you have the liquidity. You can do it at your desk.
It's not tied up in a bunch of equipment on a property that's only worth the salvage value.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you buy junior mining stocks, you have some liquidity depending on the stock. Some of the smaller ones you may have none.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got millions of shares of some companies that I could never sell it because the volumes are so low. It would take me 6 months.
Yeah.
And I would absolutely tank the share prices.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah. Hey, Blue.
He's been a good boy today.
Hey, he came to see me over here. Said hi.
Yeah. Well.
Checking your notes?
Yeah, I was going to see if we want to do any news updates. There's a few things that are moving along. Project Vault is getting momentum.
Yeah.
$12 billion fund by the U.S. government getting some investment in there.
Yep.
Kat, your tail's in the way. I can't see my nose.
Yeah, and the nice thing about that is it's a government stockpile. And I've talked about this in previous episodes. As a libertarian, I'm really uncomfortable with direct government intervention.
Right.
Especially where they're like taking equity stakes in companies, but setting a price floor for some critical minerals and things through purchasing and creating a strategic stockpile, I think is an okay move. It helps the industry, and it's what China does, and it's how China's been able to create such a dominance by doing that. And so Project Vault is a good way. And the nice thing about that is it's a strategic stockpile that the government can draw from and government contractors, but it'll also be available for commercial use.
Right.
Which is important. And it's going to have things in it like tungsten, lithium, cobalt. There's a bunch of other things. They haven't released the whole list. There's a lot of speculators speculating, but it'll probably have silver. There'll be some other things in there, uranium.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that all
Rare
shakes
earths,
out.
Obviously.
Right.
Especially the magnet ones.
I would assume antimony would be in there.
Oh yeah, antimony.
Right, and probably tungsten.
Favorite buzzword. Yeah.
Tin and I don't know, whatever else.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get a list as they flesh it out. But yeah, right now it's creating some buzz and some excitement, especially in the mining industry. That's good because we're seeing so much volatility right now in precious metals, and even copper has had a lot of volatility. I mean, the copper stocks. All the major copper stocks that are publicly traded are down like anywhere between 30 and 40% as an average during this war so far.
That is interesting how it fluctuates so wildly.
Yep. And then a lot of the junior miners that are exposed to silver and gold are down 50%. Is kind of an average.
Oof.
Yep.
That kind of hurts.
Yeah, well, especially during war too, right?
Yeah.
We have a bunch of rising tensions, and gold and silver were catching a bid on geopolitical tensions, and now they break out into an actual war, and they're getting sold off. The prevailing theory is that it's liquidity, right? Gold was up, silver was up. There's a lot of positions that could be liquidated at a profit to create liquidity to cover other shortfallings and margin calls in other places. So that's kind of the prevailing theory, but it'll be interesting because a lot of the analysts that I follow that tend to be pretty right think we're nearing a bottom in gold and silver.
Really?
And that we could start building from here. I've read that $60 is not out of the question for silver. That's entirely possible. I've read that 50 is possible, somewhere between 50 and 60.
As the bottom?
As the bottom, and then it'll start to make a leg up from there. Gold, 4,000.
Really?
Could be the new bottom. We've taken out, in silver, we've taken out the 50-day moving average, the 100-day moving average, and we're heading towards the 200-day moving average. And if we take that out, it could go a lot lower. But I would say, personally, I think we'll bounce off around 50, 55. So...
Interesting.
I mean, I'm not bothered at all. I bought a bunch of silver at $80. I bought a bunch of silver and gold miners when it was around $80, and I'm happy to hold them and not worried about it. And it's going to go back up because the fundamental things that were driving gold and silver higher are still very much
they're still
intact.
happening.
The bull case is still very much intact.
Yeah.
there's some destruction demand and things going on. There's fears of rates climbing and deflation and economic growth slowing and recession fears that obviously have a big impact on copper and silver's industrial demand. But there's still a huge drive for safe haven assets, central bank buying of gold, things like that. And so the bull market's still intact, and it'll resume its climb higher this summer, I suspect. Not investment advice. I've lost way more money investing than I've made.
It's called experience.
It's called experience, but it's fun to speculate.
Yeah, it is.
And I have in investing. Investing in my own companies and opportunities, I've largely made money. Investing in the stock market and other opportunities and things, I've largely lost money.
Well, you have to pay such close attention, right? And you can't set it and forget it. You have to keep always be moving.
Well, and especially like angel
At least you should
investing and things where I've lost a lot of money.
Oh yeah, well,
Where I've invested in things with no liquidity and
no
I
due
like
diligence.
the idea.
That's why we like to tell our clients to do due diligence, because we know on a personal level that when you don't do it, you'll generally just lose your ass on it.
Well, and I'm just thankful that I've learned my lessons losing hundreds of thousands of dollars. So later, when millions of dollars are on the line, I'll have at least learned some of the lessons.
And fortunately, with all those hundreds of thousands we've lost, it never hurt us, like financially, right? Like we've always been okay. We've always been able to pay payroll, pay the bills.
Well, because the amount I'm investing is never more than I can afford to lose.
Yeah.
Which is what they say. If you're an accredited investor and you're making smart investments in something, you have to basically sign a thing like a subscription agreement or whatever you're investing in that says that you can afford to lose the money and it's not going to put you into financial dire straits.
Which is a good way to do it.
And that is good investment advice.
Yeah.
But it's not for me.
Never
It comes from
overextend yourself. You don't want to be in that
Don't invest
position.
more than you could afford to lose. Yeah. And I know these days with all the YOLO and moonshot and crypto, this and that.
What the hell's moonshot?
People like to say,
Is that a drink?
Yeah, it sounds like a drink.
It does.
It's basically just like moon, like when Lambo, when moon, when's the stock going to the moon, when do I get my Lambo? Like, and it's the YOLO, like people literally put their life savings in because they saw a guy on Reddit who did it.
No, don't do that.
No, all this stuff, all the investments I've made in the resource sector that I didn't have direct control over, like I wasn't running the company or a director or somehow involved, I've largely lost money. But it's still early too. Like I'm building obviously a very long-term play, so.
Yeah, I mean, we've been in mining long enough. We understand patience, and that goes along with a lot of different things.
And that's all I really invest in now. Because every time I've ventured outside of it to think I understand some other sector, I've gotten in trouble.
Yeah, or just haven't seen a return, but
live
and learn. That's how it goes.
Live and learn, yeah.
How it goes.
So we're lining up some good guests. I've got a few lined up. Frankly, we were going to have a guest this week, but I went out in the field and was super busy.
Blue's here. Don't
literally
be rude.
3 days in a row when I was supposed to have a weekend. I was out working, staking claims, putting in corners, hiking mountains, taking samples,
getting the kids outside,
the UV light at night, looking for scheelite, taking the kids outside,
getting Pepper
seeing
outside,
some old mining stuff, prospecting with Pepper.
Apparently she rides an ATV now. That's
I trained
amazing.
her to ride the ATV. I can say up, and she'll jump up on the ATV and sit in there, which is fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Anything else from your end?
No, we'll have a few exciting announcements to make, I think, next week regarding Pepper. So we'll save that as a little teaser.
I don't know what that's about, but it sounds exciting.
A little Pepper story getting in a magazine. She might be famous. Who knows?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. And I am premiering a column in North American Mining Magazine, which is a magazine with a free subscription. You can sign up at North American Mining Magazine website. I don't know what it is exactly. It's probably NorthAmericanMiningMagazine.com or something similar.
I think it's just North American Mining.
But if you just Google North American Mining, you will see the magazine. And I am premiering a new column in the April issue called Open Ground, and I have an introductory article that kind of talks about that, and I will be a regular columnist. I believe there's 9 episodes, yeah. Editions.
They're every other month.
What do you call a mining magazine when it comes out? It's a
subscription.
Well, subscription, but what's each one called?
Issue.
An issue.
It's an issue.
I've been making too much online content. Editions or episodes.
It's short.
9 issues a year. So it's like every other month. And so I will have an article in there, and it's all about exploration in North America.
No, it'll be great. It's very fitting. It'll be
largely U.S. focused, but I'll talk about a lot of trends that affect Canada as well.
Yep.
So maybe a little bit of Central America. Just get that in there because they're definitely a big part of the supply chain too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, leave your negative feedback, complain about Crystal's hat.
Complain about
Ask why I'm wearing a hard hat.
Oh.
The cat. Don't complain about the cat.
No, you can't, or else Tacopa will yell at you.
All right. See you later.